Today we're going to discuss the care and feeding of ratchet straps. We're going to be mainly working with aviation style ratchet straps with these flat hooks, but the concepts can be applied to most any type of ratchet strap. First thing you want to do is going to learn how to wrap a strap. So you got two ends, you got the hook end and you got the loose end. You want to make sure that when the ratchet strap is like this, so that it folds this way, you want the loose end on the top and the hook end on the bottom. That way when it's tensioned, you can pull up on the loose end without the hook to tension it before you can tighten it. To wrap a strap, first thing you want to do is open it all the way so it's flat like that. Then take both ends and make sure that the end with the hook is longer than the end that is without the hook. I usually do about 2/3, split the strap into thirds, have 1/3 be the end without the hook and 2/3 be the end with the hook. That way you're sure that you won't have extra. The only downside of that is it takes slightly longer than having it equal, but that means that if you get it wrong and the loose end without the hook is longer, you're gonna have to restrap it or have a whole tail coming off. So I think a couple extra wraps is worth knowing that you're not gonna run out with extra. First thing you do is gather these two in your one hand. I'm left-handed, so it might be easier for you guys if you do your other hand. But then what I do is grab it like this, bring these all together so it's like that, and fold it down onto your hand. Ideally, the tail that is attached to the ratchet end is long enough that the hook neatly folds over like that. If it's not quite long enough, like if you try and fold it and it sits there, it might work better if you fold it the other way, like that. Or you may just have to kind of have it loose like that, and that's the case with a couple other straps that we'll show you later. But you start it wrapping like this, hold the one hand here with these two, and you can see how I can hold it like that and gravity's pulling it there, and that'll come in handy later. So then I'm going to push down with that, pull and align these other two with this hand, and repeat. And gravity can help me here because I can just let it fall down like that. But I'm going to increase the process by pushing down with my left hand and gripping with my right, gripping these two straps here. And what that's doing is, as I'm gripping these and pushing down, it's tensioning the wrap so that there's less work to do later and it is less likely to come apart. So we're going to keep going, and you see it's starting to kind of twist up a bit, so just hold on to the bulk over here. Just whip it around a couple times to get the twists out of the rest of it, and you see we've already run out of the end without the hook. So we could have had them this one a bit longer and this one a bit shorter, so we'd have fewer wraps in the end. But like I said earlier, at least now we're sure that we don't have to rewrap it if we have the end without the hook too long. So we're just going to keep going. I'm still tensioning with my right and pushing down with my left so that it's good and tight. And you see here, we're nearly done, but the hook doesn't quite nicely lay flat on a flat side. So we're gonna try first just tensioning. So I'll grab the hook with my left hand here, put my right hand like this, brace against my thigh, and push like that. So I'm holding the hook and pulling it and rotating the whole pile. And you can see that was enough. We'll do it a couple more times to get the hook to lay flat now like this. Then you can open it up, pull a couple layers back, hook it in there one last time, and there's a wrap strap. Now, what happens if you get to this situation? You've already tensioned it and you can't get the hook to lie flat. Well, easy enough. You flip the hook back on itself like this, and I've never had it not work out, where you can then still open it, pull a couple layers up, hook it in there, and then tension it this way. You got a little bit of the hook coming off like that, but at least it's tight and it won't come undone. Now, an important thing to realize about these ratchet straps is they function purely on friction. There's no other kind of lock or anything like that. All of their strength and holding power comes from friction in the wrap here. So if we were to tension it and it ended up looking like this, that's only like half a wrap of friction there. So you're not going to get full power. So if you have something where you need a lot of holding power, you're going to want to have it a little loose and then start tensioning. And see how we've got quite a few wraps around there. That's a lot of friction, and that's where you're going to get your strength. I think the standard is about 3 or so turns around, and then you're going to get full strength out of the wrap with friction. Now, let's say this is a load, and then we have a tail. This is a lot more applicable to road applications than it is to aviation applications. But what do you do with this tail? Do you just kind of like some people just kind of bunch it up and tie it in there or stuff it in the load, but then I find that usually comes loose. So what you do is, I find this easier without gloves, but if your straps are really dirty as they would be in a road application, you might just need some thinner gloves. You run it through your hands so that it's all flat and not twisted. And then start wrapping. You want the inside of it, you want the inside of this wrap to be about the size of your fist or so. And just roll it up like that. Then once you get to about here, you want to reach through the wrap, grab onto the strap, pull it through the hole, twist it around so that it lays nice and is nice and dressed, so that it wraps around itself, and then tension and pull. Now, that's not going to come apart when you're going down the road, and it can just sit there, and that's not going to come apart when you've controlled your tail. What you can also do if you don't want even this going around and you want it completely self-contained is you can back off a couple turns so that it's loose like this and you have more space between the roll and there. And for this you want a bit of a bigger loop, bit of a bigger roll, about the size of an open hand or so, about like that or so. Again, reach through the roll, grab the tail, pull it back through, do a half twist so that it lays flat. You see how it comes in and is flat all the way around and doesn't twist against here. There, I'll show you what it looks like if we don't do that. Pull through, and if we go through like this now, it comes through the hole and then has this twist here, and it doesn't you just can't tension it quite as well. So we're going to do it the right way. Reach through, grab it, half twist towards it, and tension. You see now, compared to the last one, this is a lot thinner because it's longer and has less of a bend radius. Then we can get the twist out of here, wrap it around once, put it under itself, and then start wrapping. And you see this strap that's under here is starting to wrap around our roll. Then you can really bunch it up and just really reef on it, and that doesn't come apart. Sometimes I have on really bumpy roads, or if this isn't very long and you can't wrap it a whole lot, I have had the extra wrap come undone, but not the big mass of the stuff here. So it depends what you need. The great thing about this, as opposed to like wrapping it around or trying to tie it back to your load, is if you need to retension, you can just get some slack and just tension like that, and you don't need to try and retie it or anything. Even more so if you just have it with single bundle like this, and if this is back here, then you have all this space to tension with if you need to and retension. Now we're in a bit of a rough situation. We've got the hook end on the top and the loose tail end on the bottom. How on earth did we get in here? Because we've got this button on here, can't pull it through and go through the other way. What are you gonna do? Well, you gotta open it up all the way so it's loose, And then a couple ways you can do it. You can either push on the ratchet teeth here, and we're just gonna rotate it like that. And just like that, the loose tail end's on the top like it's supposed to be. Problem solved. This method also works with smaller straps and straps with different types of hooks, although it's just a little bit more difficult to get it right. Same kind of process though. We're going to make sure that we have the loose tail end on top and the hook end on the bottom. We could wrap it like this right now, but it would take a lot of wraps. So we're going to be easier on ourselves and do a couple pulls like that. And you can kind of see if we lay it out, we got about a little less than 2/3 on the hook strap and a little over 1/3 on that one, and that's good enough. So then we can do the same thing, put tension with my right hand and pull it down, and you can see this is one of those straps where the hook doesn't play nice on the ratchet end. So we could try wrapping it the other way, and this does just about go nice. So I'd probably wrap it this way. If you can't get it to go nice either way, then you just kind of have to either fold it back on itself, if that works in your case, or just kind of hold it there so that this is loose and start wrapping it like that. Once you get a couple wraps on with the rest of the straps, it'll hold it there. But this one laid pretty nicely if we go this way, so I'm going to do that. Same thing, it's a little more finicky with this thinner straps, but just tensioning and pulling down. And going this way allows gravity to help you, so you can actually go pretty quickly, because you can let it, especially with the bigger straps that are heavier, you can let gravity pull it down while you reposition your left hand like that, and you can go actually pretty quickly. So now we're at the end of this one, and we've laid it out nicely where this is flat on the one side. It's just basically pure luck because there's so much variation that you just kind of hope it works out. With the really thick hooks, it's kind of hard to get it really tight so that it doesn't come apart. Usually works better if you can hook it under quite a few layers and really reef on it, and then that's pretty good. Now for this last one, I have a bit of a Frankenstein strap to show you the worst case scenario. On the long end without the ratchet, we've got this kind of hook. This method will also work for the flat hooks like you have on flat deck trailers. It's just slightly different in the way that you tension it at the very end. And then we also have this end on the ratchet with an L-track widget. So it's just a little more complicated in the way that you have to set it up when you first initially wrap it. So again, we're going to make sure that we have about 1/3 with the non-hook and 2/3 with the hook end. Open it up all the way and lock it. Gather everything together and start wrapping. And you see the widget is kind of getting in our way here. So all you need to do is, like with the round hook we had with the small strap, we're just kind of move it into place. And now it still is kind of in the way, but since we pushed it back into that recess in the ratchet, it's going to play a bit nicer. So it came out again. There we go. And as you put tension on the strap, it'll kind of find its happy place, and there you go. You see it's pretty flat there. So we're going to keep wrapping it. And now we've come to the end here, and there's no real easy way to put this hook in the wrapping. So what I do is I loosen off the last couple. Just kind of pull it backwards so we can get it through. Get enough of a hole there to squeeze it through. Hold it open with my thumb. Then I run the hook through that. And this is kind of long, but at least it'll hold. Then, same thing as before, tension this. So ideally you have a bit shorter of a tail on the hook end here, but at least this isn't coming apart, and you can just kind of wrap it like that, and that's a unit. So yeah, that's how you take care of straps.